No, it is not a humble brag post. Some of you know what I mean. Story 1. Being good-looking does not mean much if you are awkward or unsure. Confidence and real connection make the difference. Story 2. Fixed my personality. Looks are the bait, but your personality is the hook. First dates were common, but second dates were rare, which is not surprising because I was quite possibly a huge asshole when I was younger. Story 3. This will upset a few people, but it was the truth for me. I started dating more traditionally and conservatively. I was chivalrous, embraced my masculinity, adopted the role of provider, protector, and leader, and became more direct in my communication. Before that, I had taken a culturally progressive approach and always found myself in the friend zone. Story 4. Learn how to take dead or dying conversations and turn them around. This is especially useful on dating applications. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. I see conversations where men blow up on a woman after the first one-word answer. You are a stranger. She does not owe you anything. You have to give her a reason to put effort in, just like she does for you. Most of the time, the things you say do not warrant more than a simple answer. Learn how to ask leading questions that require thoughtful answers rather than just a checklist of yes or no questions. Keep in mind that a short response is still a response. That is infinitely more effort than ghosting or unmatching. That is something you can turn around. I cannot tell you how many times I have used the quote. So, do you have any burning questions for me? It absolutely breathes life into the conversation. Story 5. Changed my diet, lost weight, lifted heavy weights 3 times a week, did cardio at least once a day, slept 8 hours a day, meditated for 20 minutes a day, and dedicated time every day to learning new skills related to making money. No magic tricks, just working on myself little by little and improving 1% each day brought big changes over the years. I have been in a relationship for over 14 years, and the relationship has improved every year because of it. Story 6. Well, see, I didn't realize I was good-looking and was too shy to ever ask out someone I liked because I thought I was hideous. I didn't figure out I was good-looking until I was about 28 or so. Story 7. I had low self-esteem and accepted anyone who showed interest in me, but I only considered if I was attracted to them. I completely ignored warning signs because I craved attention. Story 8. Not good-looking, and I am not a ladies' man either. However, I basically started to care less about things, which made me more relaxed and appear more confident. After a while, women actually began to approach me. Story 9. I had a friend who was a very confident guy, and he gave me homework assignments that I completed. Although they were incredibly embarrassing and difficult for me at the time, they helped me improve. Basically, during our lunch breaks, I had to find a girl I thought was attractive and talk to her. It got easier the more I did it, and eventually, I became comfortable both talking to women and dealing with failure. Story 10. I think I am decent looking, but I have always had significant confidence problems for various reasons. Honestly, practice makes perfect. Nobody is perfect on a first date. I just keep going on dates, and slowly I get better and it becomes easier. I still almost have a panic attack before meeting girls for the first time, but once I am face to face, much of the fear vanishes. Story 11. I was always a bit of a geek. Later on, I learned women found me attractive, but I always thought less of myself. One day, I got up the courage to ask a girl for her number. Just a random girl. No expectations, just wanted to see if I would actually go through with it. She gave it to me. From that moment forward, I knew the worst thing that could happen was she would say no. But knowing that human beings are generally good, she would feel bad about it and not think badly of me. Once you realize that most humans are actually kind, considerate, and understanding, it becomes much easier to approach them and sympathize with them. Story 12. Be clear with your intentions and actions. If you want to go on a date, be sure to use the word date. Don't leave room for confusion by asking to hang out sometime or something vague like that. If it seems like you both had a good time, don't be afraid to make a move. You don't need to be aggressive unless she starts first and you are comfortable with it, but don't hesitate to go in for a kiss. Basically, I learned to ignore that little voice of doubt in my head. Just go for it. If they agreed to a date and seemed to have a good time, Odds are she will almost certainly want a kiss. Story 13. Honesty and effort towards open communication are important. Do not be afraid to ask ex-partners or dates why it did not work. Make a real effort and be ready to fail and not know why. Also, there is nothing wrong with making another friend. Try to only date people you actually find interesting, not just physically attractive. Story 14. I never really struggled, but I never really tried until I was in my mid-20s. Confidence and authenticity. A powerful combination. It may sound simple, but being yourself generally works wonders. It doesn't hurt that I am tall and from a small city with a 7 or 8 rating. Story 15. I stopped caring about rejection, which gave me much more confidence, and I stopped falling in love from afar with girls I did not really know. People can sense desperation, and people can sense confidence. I also started working out a lot more. Story 16. I don't think I qualify as good looking, but I can say the best thing is to find ways to meet and talk to people. For me, that's finding local game and trivia nights, normally hosted at bars, but sometimes restaurants host them too. Make sure the activity requires you to talk with people you don't know, such as trivia nights where you are assigned a team, or games that require communication. Board and card games are better than video games, but video games can work if played in person. Basically, do whatever you need to do to talk to new people you've never met. It may only be for a night, or you may make a new friend or find a date. If you make a new friend, maybe they know someone who is looking. If not, you made a new friend and can keep trying. If you find a date, hopefully it goes well. If not, try again. Essentially, you're networking for social reasons instead of work reasons. Story 17. Moved to a new continent, started going to the gym more, and worked on having a healthier diet. All of that gave me so much confidence. In the last month, I went on 2 dates with 2 different women, and one of my friends made a move on me a few weeks ago, saying I was really attractive. This is more than what happened in the last 4 years in my home country. Story 18. It seems that what will help most people are a decent, positive, and well-rounded personality and character, social skills to make those around you feel something positive, taking responsibility, being intentional and proactive with actions, and having your own goals and aspirations as well. Social skills seem to matter quite a bit. Story 19. You need to do it a lot. It is similar to job interviews. Do as many as you can and learn from your mistakes, even if the women are not your type. Get as much feedback from women you trust on your dating profiles. Never stop improving your appearance. Dating in my early 20s was very difficult, but I made it to the other end. Story 20. I've mostly let them come to me. I classify myself as good-looking rather than great-looking, so it's not like I am overwhelmed with attention. At some point, it still really requires initiation, which I've learned to do much more in the last few years. I've also made sure not to accept what I consider substandard reciprocation. I can only stretch myself so thin for someone who is playing the field, referring to online dating. Story 21. A few things. 1. Got in shape through running and weightlifting. Significantly limited pornography consumption. Put myself in situations where women outnumber men, such as salsa and yoga classes. Put effort into my online dating profile by commenting with thoughtful questions rather than just liking pictures on the dating app. Open my mouth. What you say to start a conversation doesn't matter. Just don't compliment her body. Asked for her phone number in person. Became more intentional about sex. Oddly enough, the more I pursued sex, the more willing women were to see me again for sex. Story 22. I took women completely off the pedestal I had been conditioned to put them on. Here is a great secret that works. I made a point to completely ignore them wherever I went, not in a rude way. I just made sure my mind and eyes were completely on my own personal interests and business. Try this exercise. Go about your day and see how many women you cannot notice in a day. It gets increasingly harder the longer you do it because women start coming up to you to ask trivial questions and start conversations about nothing. I also changed my mindset from viewing the women I dated as the prize to recognizing that I was the prize. Not in an arrogant way. I just forced myself to see her as expendable if it was not working out. I reminded myself that I could find someone else tomorrow. The number one key point here, I completely forbade myself to seek any kind of validation from her in any way. So I did nice things and acted like a normal boyfriend, but without the underlying motive of winning points or her favor. I stopped trying to impress and just became impressive. Did impressive things but acted like it was no big deal and that this was just what I do. Game changer. The number two key point, I did not engage in any games they tried to play. Ruthless. If she started a fight for no reason out of the blue, as they often do, I refused to take the bait no matter what she said. I quietly and unemotionally showed her the door and said, "Come back tomorrow when you are feeling better." Then I stood my ground. No matter what, she was gone after a completely unnecessary outburst. One chance only. Story 23. I learned at a young age that interesting people are more attractive than attractive people. Interesting people are more open-minded and easier to approach and talk to. Maybe that is like a placebo effect, I do not know, but it worked for me. I am married now to a very interesting and beautiful woman. Story 24. My boyfriend falls into this category. He has met the majority of his girlfriends at work, including me. When I first met him, I thought he was aloof. It turned out he was just extremely shy and introverted. It was a nice break from the arrogant, misogynistic men who usually approach me. I guess just speaking with women in forums like Reddit, and in real life with female friends and acquaintances before approaching women you have a romantic interest in helps. Remember that women also ask the same questions as you. My advice: always be your truest self, or you won't match with the right person for you. Story 25. Lost weight, gained muscle, new haircut, tinted eyebrows, stopped overthinking everything, new wardrobe, took up social dancing such as salsa to get out of my comfort zone and meet new people. Also got a divorce. Story 26. Practice. I'd say my facial features are about a 6, but I got genetically lucky and am 6 feet 2 inches tall, 235 pounds. I was socially awkward, but I practiced and learned how to talk to people. I like to say I can't hear the music, but I was able to learn the lyrics. Don't start by trying to flirt with girls. Just start talking to people. Talk to women without any intention of asking them out. Start with small interactions with grocery clerks, but do not hit on any woman who is working. Build from there. If you are actually attractive, the women will help you out. Good luck. Story 27. I stopped caring and just enjoyed myself. Turns out if you do not have that thirst and are fun to be around, people are drawn to you. Story 28. I'm pretty average looking, but I used to be very anxious and insecure. Eventually, I developed the mindset of, if they don't like me, they aren't worth wasting time on anyway. I became my genuine self, and that has probably helped the most. Girls ask me out all the time now, and it also gave me the confidence to ask out girls I find cute. I'm much more confident in my relationships. Sometimes people aren't into my personality, and that's okay. Story 29. Finished high school, worked out regularly, ate healthy, got a physically demanding job, and was no longer skinny. Story 30. I do not think I struggle with dating, or maybe I am delusional. I tend to go for women who are already in relationships, then back out of respect. However, I still try to maintain friendships with these women because they are genuinely interesting people whom I enjoy being around and talking to. Story 31. Still struggling. Dating is hard because you are not really sure if the relationships are genuine or if you are just an accessory to them. Story 32. I'm not super good looking, maybe slightly above average. There was a huge difference in attention. I was long taken by the time I started improving myself after I worked on my confidence and social skills. I'm the typical introverted kind, and while I'm curious and observe people a lot, my practical skills in social interaction were severely lacking. I watched some YouTube videos, mostly charisma on command, and searched for questions here on Reddit. Then I just put what I learned into use, little by little, taking baby steps outside my comfort zone. I also started paying more attention to my posture, which is usually not great. After about 3 months, I started to notice little changes, and from there onwards the progress sped up. Around 6 months into this, I was already able to banter with some strangers and semi-strangers without too much discomfort. I also turned my usual clumsiness from an embarrassing thing into a funny one that allowed me to show confidence. Who knew almost tripping on a normal floor tile could break the ice? Story 33. Online, I can simply post myself and wait for women to direct message me. It is easy when you already know they are attracted to you. Story 34. Abraham Lincoln said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." By this, I mean improve yourself and then your dating life will improve. Story 35. Seriously? What kind of struggle is that? Too many girls throw themselves at him, and he couldn't choose and settle down? That is a real struggle. Story 36. I started working out. A better physique helps a little, but more confidence helps a lot. I am still not very confident, but I am confident enough to land dates and be comfortable on them. Story 37. I started opening up. I am a fairly good-looking athlete. I noticed girls peeking at me but never acted on it. My female friend then asked if I am gay since I rarely talk to girls. I was confused until she told me that girls talk about me in college, and some even say that I am a playboy and overconfident, while I am just shy and underestimate myself. When I started opening up, talking to girls, and got rid of my shyness, I began dating more. Also, be yourself. Don't put on a mask. You might date, but it won't last unless you date someone who likes you for who you are. Do not behave as someone you're not to attract others. You'll just look goofy. Be a man, be yourself, and most importantly, treat them with respect. Story 38. I overcame my severe anxiety, low self-esteem, and depression. Once I got myself together, I stopped having problems dating. In fact, after I figured out some things, I had a couple of successful casual relationships over a few months and then met the woman I have been with for over 25 years. Story 39. Just know you are not all that, and beauty is subjective. Most people are drawn to personality over appearance. Story 40. Overexposure. Trial and error. Like anything else in life, I'm not a model, but that's basically how I did it. 10 seconds of insane courage. You learn what works and what doesn't. Also, read the room for about 30 minutes before making moves toward people in it. Find a spot to sit and just watch people around. For just cold approaches, give it 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Is she busy? Any boyfriend or husband? Is she in a good mood? Then muster your courage and go talk to her. She's just a human being. The sun rises again tomorrow. It's a win-win situation. If you get rejected, so what? You survived. You learned what not to do, or you got out of your comfort zone. Really, the worst thing you can do is set up an unrealistic delusion, expectation, or fantasy for the encounter. Breathe, walk up, and, well, introduce yourself. Start with a compliment or a joke, or just start somewhere. In the beginning, it sucks, but that's how most things in life are when you're learning a new skill. Story 41. Look within yourself. Practice chivalry and date with intention, not centering your life around it. Equally, learn how to talk with women on a casual level. The better you get at all of these, the more you will improve. I am not the best looking, but when I did these things, everything improved dramatically. Story 42. Just because you are good looking does not make you attractive. I took a long break from dating. I went to the gym, improved my diet, cleaned my house, focused on improving my finances, saved money, and picked up new hobbies. I made myself attractive. Story 43. I got out of my own way. When I was younger, I always assumed that if a girl expressed interest in me, she must be setting me up for a cruel prank. I stopped assuming that and started expressing interest back. It worked wonders. Story 44. Talk to women I found unattractive or had no interest in. Less pressure. No stakes. A loss did not affect me. I learned how to get good at talking to people in a stress-free environment. Essentially, I was gaining experience on low-level challenges. Story 45. I realized I had been having toxic patterns. Firstly, I reduced my weed consumption. I went to therapy after a breakup. I noticed that I started to work on myself. I have been embracing my loneliness and learning to live alone most of the time. Now I can say I am ready to share my life from abundance, not from necessity. It is a hard road, but it is worth it. Story 46. You have to dig deep and find yourself first. Be happy with who you are as a man and know your worth. To know your worth, you need to put effort into yourself by learning and improving. Do difficult things you don't want to do, and give up something that doesn't help you in your life. If you want to improve at dating, love yourself first. It is easy now for men to fall into the endless loop of trying to obtain women because they think it will make them happy. It is also extremely difficult for men, even good-looking men, to date now. Dating applications have created a giant mountain to climb in hopes of finding women to date. You have to treat dating like a job, in my opinion, and gain experience. If you don't put in the work on yourself to learn, grow, and get ahead of others, then you fall behind. It is easy to be complacent. Find some passion inside yourself. I have spent years reading and putting myself out there. You will fail, but keep going, because to have success you have to fail. Treat dating like a competition where all the women you want are looking at you in a stadium. You are the player they desire to obtain. There may be other players on the field, but that is why you go harder than the rest. You have to want it and be patient. Stay true to yourself and your expectations and standards, and keep trying, because it will pay off in more ways than you think. Story 47. I started treating women like people and became genuinely interested in them as individuals, rather than as prizes that could be won by saying the right things. Story 48. Women want to feel attractive. More often than not, an average man who makes a woman feel like she is a catch will win over a handsome man who makes her feel inferior. If you are good-looking and make her feel equal to you, you should have no problems. My advice is to put yourself out there and show interest in the women you find attractive. Eventually, you will become comfortable talking with them, and that confidence will help you enjoy the process more and achieve greater success. Most importantly, do not be dishonest or disrespectful. Story 49. I decided to focus on myself and be authentic. I don't use dating sites anymore. I have some personal issues to work through, mostly related to mental health, and being introverted doesn't help. I plan to be confident and true to myself. I started dog walking, got back into roller skating, and do some weightlifting. I'm also updating my wardrobe to change my look a bit. I can hold conversations and meet new people while dog walking without any problem. However, I believe people can often tell if someone is comfortable being approached or not, and last year I was not. I ended a long-term relationship 2 to 3 years ago, so I am taking time to heal. I'm avoiding dating apps and focusing on improving myself to become a better man. Story 50. I've always been a conventionally attractive person. I put on weight later in life, but I've lost 40 pounds since October. I struggled to date in high school. It's all about self-confidence and charisma. Both of these are skills. They don't come naturally. I found that self-deprecating humor is the best way to connect with many people. I've also learned that women like men who are passionate about things. If the only things you're into are hitting the gym, video games, sports, and other surface-level interests, many women won't be interested in you. But if you're passionate about playing guitar, starting a business, or stand-up comedy, really anything, it's a very attractive feature. Being handsome is only half the battle. Story 51. I stopped being a nice guy. It is amazing how much being a nice guy makes women lose interest. The most recent woman I was with sent me a follow-up text after spending a night together. She told me directly that she thinks I am a dangerous man because I got her to do exciting things in public. She absolutely loves it and cannot get enough of me. Story 52. I honestly don't think there is any rhyme or reason behind what attracts different women. A couple of years ago, I was sitting on a patio with some girls. Our group had mingled with theirs a few minutes earlier. One girl started talking to me about privilege. She was brown. I'm white. I flatly said, I don't really think about privilege very much. And she pushed back, yeah, because you're white. To which I responded, well, yeah, if I wasn't, you wouldn't have even brought it up. Then I calmly explained how I'm nearly 40 and not spending the next half of my life worrying about things I have very little control over. I basically said the things that typically get me downvotes on Reddit when discussing such topics. Within about 10 minutes, she was propositioning me for a threesome. I declined because I have a partner, and I swear the look of shock and confusion on this 20-something-year-old woman's face was clear as glass. She couldn't believe I didn't want it. Anyway, the whole experience threw me. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.